Happy Festivus Day, and welcome on into the PHNX D-backs podcast. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as the mayor of Festivus. This guy over here has no idea what Festivus is. He's the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
You were just explaining it to me.
I was trying to.
It's like a farmer's market type of deal?
It is, but there's feats of strength, and there's airing of grievances. There's a lot of that. I got to teach you all about it, but of course, welcome on in to the show that is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. We were so close, guys. We were so close to getting out of the free agency season without the NL West gaining anything like what we're talking about today. But of course, the big news, Carlos Correa in the NL West for what I originally thought was 11 years, but as Jesse corrected me, turns out is 13 years in the NL West. Make it make sense to me, Jesse. Make it hurt less.
Well, first, Derek, where do you see yourself in 13 years? I think we should start with that question.
Not even alive. I mean, let's be honest. I'm living on thin ice, Jesse. So I don't know if I see myself being anywhere, but definitely not a billionaire like Carlos Correa can be if he invests his money right.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh
my God, the fourth biggest contract in MLB history to a free agent.
To a free agent in terms of total value. And yeah, the interesting thing about this deal, and this has been a trend throughout all of the moves that we've seen, is that teams are favoring more years over a higher average annual value.
Correct.
Because if you do the math here, $350 million is a ton of money, like you said, fourth largest contract in terms of total value to a free agent in MLB history. But if you average that out over 13 years, it's $27 million, which is a lot of money. But given that Carlos Correa is basically the most sought-after free agent that we've seen in the game of baseball for quite some time, it's actually not that bad, right? And so it's another situation. It's similar to Xander Bogaerts in particular. It's also probably similar in some ways to Trey Turner, where, the San Francisco Giants are like, hey, we would rather split this $350 million over 13 years, where the hit on the luxury tax toward the luxury tax threshold is a little bit lower every year, as opposed to paying him $35 million a year for 9 or 10 years or something like that. So it's a trend. The trend continues here with this deal.
Ben said playing until you're 41 is not completely crazy. Speaking as a 41-year-old, I am in the best shape of my fucking life.
This is a big day for you, Derek, as a 41-year-old, because
I'm excited.
Because not only is Carlos Correa's contract expiring at 41, but Trey Turner's contract is expiring at 41, as well as Xander Bogaerts'
So
contract.
basically what you're saying is we're useless at 41, right? That's where we no longer deserve to be paid any money.
Apparently major league teams don't seem to think so. They seem to think that you are still worth nearly $30 million at that age.
I'll take it.
So
I will take it. But I honestly ask, what is with these deals? These 10 plus year deals. Does anybody remember when like a 5-year deal was a long time? I mean, it's crazy. Now, I understand the way that baseball is structured, that's the reason why at least some of these younger players are getting these big deals, right? Because it's their first chance at free agency, and teams want to lock them up as a member of that franchise for the rest of their career.
Yeah.
Barring the team takes a southward turn and then they have to trade them away to somebody else. But, some of these deals have no trade clauses in them, and there's a lot of interesting things going on with these big deals. But I feel like just yesterday, 5 years was a long time for a contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, where do we go from here? There has to be some upper bound here, right? Like, I feel like no major league team is ever going to give out, around $30 million per year. Hello, Mark. Past the age of 41, right? Like it's not like in a few years the inflation of the market is going to take us to a point where you're going to sign a guy till he's 45. Right. I hope. I mean, at that point, it's just negligence on the part of these owners to do that. But I mean, it's hard to put any caps on this market because it really hasn't been reasonable in terms of the number of years given so far.
And as we move along, it makes contracts that were given out previously look less and less crazy, especially when they, nailed these guys down to yes, a long-term deal, but a reasonable amount that like halfway through it, they're going to be potentially underpaid in comparison to other superstars in baseball at that time.
It's very fair. Yeah, I mean, $27 million. Again, that's the point here. $27 million, especially once you get toward those latter years of this contract. Yes, you're going to be overpaying almost certainly for the production you're getting at that point, but $27 million in 10 plus years is not going to be as much as it is right now. You think about the qualifying offer. The qualifying offer is already almost $20 million in itself, right?
Yeah.
So, in 10 years, the qualifying offer might not even be that far away from what some of these big name guys are getting paid. But it's an interesting approach, and it's one we haven't seen from teams that much in the past. Usually teams are like, hey, I'll give you the big money, but I'd rather do it over 4 years, over 5 years, right? That sounds like that's the approach the Dodgers have taken in free agency this winter. And there's a reason they haven't landed anyone, right? Because these guys aren't wanting to take those deals, but that's what the market used to sort of be like, and now it's sort of shifted into this new direction.
Bob Nightingale posted a tweet, of course, much like myself, incorrectly saying Carlos Correa had an 11-year deal, but he talked about 10 current players having contracts of 11 or more years after Carlos Correa, and there's a list, and it's a growing list, and those are the best players in baseball. Let's be honest. That's the reason why they are locked in to those deals. It's just pretty crazy to think about the difference in some of those deals, and looking throughout some of them, I don't know if they're going to end up being the value that these teams, wanted out of these guys. I say that because even something that Boston Red Sox fans pointed out is that Mookie Betts' production hasn't been what it was in Boston since he moved to LA. So that alone is kind of like that drop in what you thought you were getting from a guy like him, but he's still arguably one of the best players in the game, and I don't want to take anything away from him. It's just that production drop-off can sometimes equate to what you're paying a young player that's practically making nothing by comparison to some of these deals that they've given out. Madison Bumgarner's contract is starting not to look so bad by comparison to some of the contracts that are out there, but, it is what it is. Tip of the cap to Carlos Correa, though, because this guy, again, like we talked about with Aaron Judge, he bet on himself, and it pays off. He gets the biggest contract by a shortstop in MLB history, and he did it after signing that 1-year deal with the Twins that seemed a bit offbeat that he signed that, but makes a bit more sense now that he's getting this big deal.
One of the craziest things that I saw on Twitter after this deal came out was from Chandler Rome, a friend of the show, actually. We had Chandler Rome on last year when the Diamondbacks brought on Brent Strom as the new pitching coach. Covers the Houston Astros for the Houston Chronicle. He said the Astros offered Carlos Correa a 5-year, $160 million contract at the end of the 2021 season. He ended up getting 14 years and $385 million between the Twins and the Giants when all was said and done. Like, betting on yourself works in this market, right? And it's not even that Carlos Correa came out and had this, Aaron Judge caliber season. He had a great year for the Twins, but it was just sort of him being him. It was just kind of him continuing to do what he's done for the last few years. And it obviously paid off in a big way getting this deal with the Giants.
Here's another interesting thing. Dansby Swanson is just sitting back right now lighting cigars with $100 bills, thinking about how
a great time.
He's going to get paid. Like, he is not even sweating anything because he knows no matter what, his rate, his dollar amount, the amount of money he's going to make in this next contract just keeps increasing with every one of these shortstops getting these contracts that they're getting. And honestly, I mean, good for him. I know he's going to end up going to the Dodgers at this rate, and that's the reason why I hate life at times. But I
don't think Nancy
right when we think we get out of
Dodgers.
it, the Dodgers and the Giants are going to pick up the last two big name free agents. But what do you think? Dansby Swanson stays in Atlanta, or what do you think?
I don't think he stays in Atlanta. Okay. I don't think he stays in Atlanta. Apparently, the Braves have made their quote unquote best and final offer as of a while back, which I don't know if I fully believe that. I think there's an opportunity that they would re-enter the market, but I don't think it's anywhere close. I don't think it's anywhere close to where the bidding is probably going to be for Dansby Swanson.
When I hear best and final, that means we're done negotiating, is what I've
that's what they're trying to make it sound like, but I don't know if that's necessarily true.
They've spent a lot of money, though. They have spent a lot of money. They've locked in a lot of guys long term. And again, it was one of those things that we were kind of perplexed how the Braves kept doing it when teams like the Diamondbacks can't, but the Braves can lock everybody in.
I mean, frankly, it's shocking they haven't extended Sean Murphy yet. I'm still floored by that.
Yeah, Jesse was like, let's keep an eye on that. That's happening. But Dansby Swanson, you're about to have yourself a really good December or January, depending on when this happens.
Can we just think about this from an NL West perspective real quick? Like it is just wild to think about the landscape of the NL West moving forward and some of the players that are in the division. So Mookie Betts is under contract with the Dodgers through 2032. All right, 2032. Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm going to check this to make sure.
I hate it.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is under contract with the San Diego Padres through 2034.
Why are
I was
you
going to say
doing
2024.
this?
2034. Fernando Tatis Jr. is under contract. Xander Bogaerts, an 11-year deal. That puts him with the San Diego Padres through 2033. Xander Bogaerts. And now we have Carlos Correa added to the list, a 13-year deal. He is a San Francisco Giant through 2035 with a full no-trade clause.
Hey, Jesse. Yeah, I was going to say, don't all of those guys have no trade clauses?
There's also, I don't know if all of them do, but I think, at least, I know the guys who just signed you. Bogaerts and Correa absolutely do. I don't remember the details of the Betts and Tatis Jr. deals off the top of my head, but they
the NL West is a fun place.
It is. I mean, in 2033, when they're all, on the brink of 40 years old, maybe it's not so bad. But for the time being, it's a pretty bleak outlook if you're a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Remember when we talked about positivity? I thought we were supposed to. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, no, this sucks. It's the worst. And of course, like Jesse said, we have a very, very long time of dealing with all of these guys. So the Diamondbacks have no choice to get better. And the only way that they're going to get better is by spending more money. That's it, plain and simple. But of course, Jesse has written quite a bit about quite a bit about everything, and you can get a lot of his stuff.
Quite a bit about everything.
Not just Diamondbacks, but all sorts of baseball stuff. Winter meetings. He had a lot of fun doing a lot of the things that he's been doing lately. So make sure to check out, if you haven't gotten yourself a membership, his articles over at gophnx.com. They are unlocked and free for the most part. There's a couple of diehard only pieces out there, but make sure to check that out. If you want to read everything, get yourself a Diehards membership, which is what you should be doing anyway. Give yourself the gift of a PHNX Diehards membership. Not only will you get free merch over at the phnxlocker.com every single year, you also get 20% off every single purchase. You'll get invites to diehard members only events. You'll also get discounts to diehard events, such as our upcoming PHNX Tea Party, which you can get in on if you're a diehard member at a discount. Of course, join us over at Dobson Ranch Golf Course. We were out there yesterday. It's a beautiful golf course.
It really is.
First time I have been, maybe I play at the public courses a bit too much, but it was the first time I've played at a course that had like the Top Golf type tracking on your balls when you were just sitting on the driving range.
It was cool. I have genuinely never seen I've never seen anything like that. Yeah. I mean, I guess I've been to Top Golf, but I've never seen that at like an actual golf course.
Okay, I thought I just haven't been there in a while, but of course, we had a lot of fun. Jesse saw that I can golf. I'm pretty.
You have decent. A pretty decent golf swing. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you don't want to see my golf swing.
Good look. But of course, we want to see your swing out there at the Tea Party. So join us. We're renting out the entire driving range, so you guys can join us and check out those beautiful bays. You can check out this a really cool tracking system that they have. They have all sorts of different games you can play as well. It's a fun time. So come hang out with us, Big Drive Energy, and fellow diehards for a night of golf, food, drinks, contests, prizes, and more. Jesse will not play you in golf, but he will play you in ping pong, and
I will murder you in ping pong.
So our PHNX Suns crew, of course, will be hosting a watch party for the Suns versus Timberwolves. We're going to have 2 gigantic TVs out there. I don't even know if it's TVs. I think it's going to be like...
There's 2 big inflatable screens that'll be on the lawns behind the driving range, as well as a bunch of heaters. So if you're worried about being cold, there will be heaters and tables. There's going to be
6 around Lindsey Smith, that's for sure.
Yes.
We know that.
Yeah, she might hog all the heaters, but there will be heaters.
Wait, what is an inflatable screen?
Have you never seen an inflatable screen?
No.
The stuff, the things you haven't experienced in life
inflatables are like bouncy houses.
So an inflatable screen is like an inflatable, like you would hang a sheet up for a projector.
That turns into a movie screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I still bounce
You
in it?
cannot
No.
go bounce in it, no, because then people can't see the movie. So of
Fair
course,
enough. Fair enough.
Make sure to check
Jesse
that out.
is the movie at that
He
point.
is the movie. You're right. You're right. But of course, your fee, whether you're a diehard or a non-diehard, your fee will include unlimited range balls and a set of rental clubs, which they have great sets of rental clubs out there.
Mark says, "How's the food?"
The food was food
at
fantastic.
Dobson Ranch is great.
Yeah.
And we're working on getting partners out there as well.
Yeah, there's going to be partners out there, but let me tell you, I've been craving a basically room service style club sandwich, and this place delivered a great one. I was so pleased. I've been craving one of those for weeks. I have no idea why. It's just,
What does room service style mean to you?
I mean, it's your typical club sandwich, right? The one that's cut into little triangles and has the bacon and the lettuce and tomato and turkey and stuff that on it, right? It's not overly complicated. It always has to come with French fries, and it has to hit at a perfect certain amount of crispiness without it being overly dry and awful. And this hit on all those points. It was just one check after another. So, of course, come out, try the food. 1 free hour range time and golf balls at Dobson Ranch to be used at a later time as well. So make sure to check that out. We're going to be having so much fun. Play Saul and pickleball, Jesse and ping pong, me and cornhole. And, of course, there's hot chocolate. And for the kids, there's going to be a free kids clinic provided for all kids 10 and under. So, of course, bring the kids out. Let them go play. Come over to the hot chocolate. I'll have a little flask with me. No, I'm kidding. Wink. Anyway, come find me. We'll have a good time as adults. And, of course, we'll hit some golf balls. And it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a good time. So join us out there. Click the link in the description to reserve your spot right now. And for our diehards, check the Discord for your special link where you'll save 20% on this awesome event. And, of course, that's a big part of being a diehard is the Discord. It's the best place. And somebody the other day said I look like Tim Curry. And you know what? I'm honored. I love Tim Curry, so I know big eyes and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. I'll take it. I like Tim Curry. But we got some more stuff going on, Jesse. And when we say more stuff, I mean the Diamondbacks have nothing going on. That's what I mean. I mean, the spending has dried up, and as we knew kind of going into this, the Diamondbacks weren't really looking to spend a lot of money on free agency. We weren't expecting them to make a big splash. However, with that being said, Mike Hazen did tantalize us a bit with the potential idea that they could be in on some of these names. Obviously, they were connected to Xander Bogaerts. They were connected via trade to Sean Murphy. And right now, it just stands that they have improved their bullpen, which is the one area that they should have addressed, but really not a lot going on for them. And when you look at the spending, according to a tweet we sent out, you will see that the Diamondbacks are pretty far from the pack as far as the NL West goes. Jacob, can you throw that tweet up there on the NL West? Because some of the spending is pretty kind of out of control, of course. The Mets, we know about what the Mets do. But look at those Padres. Padres say, no, we're number one in the NL West. And by that, we mean checks given out.
In retrospect, I should have put the 3 dots between the Mets and the Padres, too, just to show how otherworldly Steve Cohen's spending is now.
Okay, good. So the Padres spending is crazy, and the Mets spent over $100 million more than them.
Yeah.
And that's just for 2023, folks.
So the Mets are at 336. For those of you joining us on audio, the Mets currently projected payroll for 2023, $336 million, which is just an absolutely insane number.
It's just a bonkers number.
Apparently, did you see the report yesterday that the Mets were in on Carlos Correa?
Yes.
It came out an hour or two before he signed with the Giants, and that would have been just wild.
They could have cracked 350.
They would have been well past 350. Yeah. I mean, they would have been inching close to 400 at that point. But yeah, Padres at $235 million, Phillies at $230 million. We spend a lot of time in the postseason talking about how they have spent a lot of money of late. And then you've got the Braves. This one was kind of surprising for me. I don't really think of the Braves as being this big spending team, but with all of the contracts, all the extensions that they've signed and whatnot, they're up close to $200 million. The Giants, after this Correa move, $190 million. The Dodgers are
third place. You poverty franchise. How are you in third place in the NL West in spending? How do you feel about that, LA?
$173 million for the Dodgers,
they're
and then you've got
done.
They're not done. And then you've got the Cardinals at 164, and then a whole lot of space. And then it's the Arizona Diamondbacks currently projected for $101 million. And in order to make the playoffs, Derek, the math is not complicated. You got to be one of the 6 best teams in the National League. That's a list of 7 teams that we just put on the screen. So you're going to have to beat 2 of those teams in order to make the playoffs.
Michael makes a great point. He says the Dodgers had $80 million come off of their payroll.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
They've had a ton of money come off, and they haven't really put any money back on yet.
But the Braves are definitely the standard here, right? Like, I know the Mets are spending like crazy, the Padres are spending like crazy, the Phillies, but the Braves should be the standard in terms of how you're spending your money, right?
The Braves should be at the highest end, and the Braves have done it by mostly hanging on to guys within their organization and extending them. And that's the best part about what the Braves have done. If they rewarded their players for their performance, they kept them in the organization, and it just builds a different level of trust and dedication by the fan base. I mean, that's the truth. And the also truth is Ben saying you could field 3 Diamondbacks teams for the cost of 1 Mets team. Yes, Ben, thank you for pointing that out. Oh, man. But, yeah, no, I mean, this is kind of crazy when it comes to spending. It's another reason why baseball needs to fix it in some way.
You got to do something.
It's just... Yeah. They take these tiny steps when it comes to competitiveness, right? And equaling things out. But they refuse to do anything about that. And what's weird is there are so many people that applaud how much money has been given around and thrown out. They're happy that this happens.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's a sign that, like, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of nuances, but in some ways it's a sign that baseball's in a healthy spot, right? Like you really want to talk about baseball being like on the downturn, like nobody cares about this sport anymore. Yeah, look at some of the contracts that have been signed in the last month, right? And try to convince anyone that there's not money in this game anymore, right? Yeah. Clearly that's not the case. But to your point, they've got to figure something out as far as this ownership situation is concerned across the game. There's such a giant disparity between what some owners are willing to do, like Steve Cohen, especially of the Mets, the Padres owner. There's other owners that I think are in a similar category there. And then there's owners of teams like the Diamondbacks who I mean, it's no secret to anyone at this point, right? The Diamondbacks have never gotten anywhere close to those levels of spending, and honestly, it would be somewhat surprising to see them go in that direction moving forward. And so, yeah, you just have this enormous disparity, and it seems like the difference from one franchise to another is just so heavily contingent on what is the personality of their owner, right? Like how does their owner view their ownership of a Major League Baseball franchise? Are they doing it as an investment? Are they doing it just to have fun and try to win games? The answer to that question, it feels like at times it's almost more important than any other question about a Major League franchise.
You just unlocked the key to the Arizona Diamondbacks' success, Jesse.
Okay.
So what we need from Mike Hazen, and Jesse's not going to like anything I'm about to say. But what we need from Mike Hazen is for him to appeal to Ken Kendrick on a cards basis, on a baseball card, on a collectible cards basis. And I need him to have Ken Kendrick start seeing players in baseball have the similar value to very rare baseball cards, right? Get him on a similar level of wanting to collect as many rare, super rare, chrome, autographed, whatever, I don't know. I don't know a lot about baseball cards, but whatever the goddamn thing is that all of you collectors want, all of the Justin Martinez cards that Brett, whatever those are, we need him to start viewing players, real people, as that. Then that way he'll start obsessing over collecting as many of them as possible, right? Then, then profit. Right? That's, I don't know.
That's a solid plan.
It's like you said, though, you need to appeal to the owner on what he's into, right? So it's like if you start making him see that he needs to collect as many key collectibles as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe he starts looking at that. Maybe he starts looking at spending the money, because honestly, the Diamondbacks are so far behind on the spending. And I don't even want them to go do crazy stuff. Honestly, for the most part, I'm still... And hopefully the organization is still okay with staying the course, right? I just don't know how these changes in the NL West impact the Zips projections and, look at Diamondbacks numbers now. And if they don't make any moves, are they going to now be behind or below that number that they were projected to be at? I can't imagine if they stay the course that things stay the same way with Xander Bogaerts and Carlos Correa now in the division, right?
Yeah.
I will say, though, that I think for now, until the Diamondbacks can truly figure out who they are, who their core is, I'm okay without them spending this big money on these big contracts.
Yeah, that's fair. And I also want to say that, like, as much as I totally understand where people are coming from and, why doesn't Ken Kendrick spend more money and all this stuff, right? I wrote about this a while back. This was like maybe a full year ago at this point. The Diamondbacks, relative to the revenue that the Diamondbacks bring in, and this is based on publicly available information, so it's not necessarily, hard and fast, like these numbers are precise or anything, but roughly speaking, I think there's good evidence that the Diamondbacks spend roughly the same percentage of their revenue on their payroll as most other teams throughout the game. Maybe there's a slight disparity. There doesn't appear to be a big disparity there. And so the difference between a team like the Diamondbacks and a team like the Mets is again, how is the owner viewing the investment, right? Is the owner viewing the investment as I don't care how much money I lose, I just want to win, right?
Yeah.
Some owners are going to take that approach, but not all of them are. And to be fair, I don't know if we should expect that all owners will necessarily do that, even though I know fan bases love that.
I think sometimes you got to be realistic, right? And sometimes you do have to look at the moves your competitors make and look at how much of a favorite they are, and really analyze how spending money on free agents is going to impact your chances, right? Like, yes, you could bring on a big name, but I feel like we're past the day and age of a mediocre team still having people buy tickets and come see them just because of a big name on their team.
Right.
People might come to see visiting teams that have a big name on them, or even maybe local fans come out to see a big name. But I don't even know if selling tickets is the priority anymore. You know what I mean?
No.
That used to be a big focal point.
The San Diego
Padres.
the San Diego Padres could sell out every single game, and I don't think they would break even. It's just not.
Yeah.
The tickets it's not as big a factor in the equation as you would probably expect.
It's merchandise and television.
Yeah, TV is huge.
Yeah.
TV is just huge.
Well, and the Diamondbacks got a pretty substantial television deal, so it's not like they're not making money from that television deal that they have. So really, maybe right now they're being ran in a way where they just want to make money, and honestly, I don't even know if that's the case with how empty the stadium is at times, right? But
yeah, I could not say with any confidence that the Diamondbacks are, operating in a way where they're trying to bring in huge profits, or I don't see it that way as of right now. It's really hard to gauge these things. We don't have that much information about exactly how much the team is bringing in, or exactly what
any team. Right?
Yeah, about any team. It's just
of baseball teams.
Yeah, it's just part of the system, so it's hard to know for sure, but I think it's a misconception about the Diamondbacks being, this team is just hoarding cash.
They're just cheap.
Yeah, I don't think it's true, but it is true that Ken Kendrick has a very different view on this than Steve Cohen does, or that a lot of other owners around the game do.
And I have heard that Ken Kendrick had a very similar view to this team as to the original ownership group. And I've talked about this in the past, but there was a very idealistic view about running this team in a way where it was a nice place for families to go and enjoy a night out and watch the baseball.
Which it is. I mean, it's the cheapest ticket in baseball.
Right.
Really.
And it's also has the cheapest concession prices and such, right? So they still lead the league in that stuff, and that reflects where I think their priorities might stand, which is still just running this almost as an entertainment venue, even when the baseball team is playing in it, more so than worrying about profits or worrying about, running at a negative so that the team can try to keep up with some of their NL West competition, which, I mean, even if they did operate in that way, I don't know if they'd still be close. I think this team has a chance right now to do something unexpected and to do something similar to the Cleveland Guardians, to do something similar to the Atlanta Braves potentially, where it's guys within the organization step up, they become stars, and the team extends them. I think that's what people want to see.
Sure.
I feel like the Diamondbacks should be lucky to have a guy like Zach Gallen be acquired through the trade that they got him for, and I think they should see that and do everything they can to extend him and make him a future member of this team or make him a member of the Diamondbacks for life. These are the things, again, when you talk about fans building trust in you, fans wanting to love your team, a big part of that is not going through the constant heartbreak of watching your guys come up, get great, and then go somewhere else to achieve greatness there. You know?
I think that's what fans get more angry about than anything else, right? It's not as much like, oh, you know, you were rumored to be in on Xander Bogaerts and you whiffed, right? He goes to your division rival. It's like Paul Goldschmidt's a St. Louis Cardinal, right? And that just that's never going to feel okay to any Diamondbacks fan. And understandably so, right? The optics of that is really unfortunate. And we've started to see bigger market teams like the Boston Red Sox sort of adopt that same philosophy where they're okay seeing some of their, big name homegrown guys walk in free agency to other teams. That's what gets fans up in arms more than anything else, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Well, again, if you guys are watching us right now on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, we thank you guys for being here. We love and appreciate you. I hope you have a happy Festivus. Of course, make sure you subscribe to this sports
Is everyone
channel.
In town going to this
Everybody's
event?
going to Festivus.
I'm just missing out.
It's a holiday, Jesse. It's not just an event. But, of course, make sure, if you are here, to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our wonderful shows go live. If you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcasting app, I'm sorry that I forget about you all the time. Jesse is always thinking of you. Make sure to subscribe to us there as well if you haven't done so, and leave us a review. We appreciate you for doing so. And if you have people left on your shopping list, which I know so many of you still do, get down to Festivus.
I have approximately everyone.
Jesse waits until the last minute. He literally waits until the last minute. I'm unashamed
because the advantage is that when you're walking around Chandler Mall at 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve, there's just not that many options left.
I hate this
and
so much.
it forces me to make way faster and more efficient decisions than I would make otherwise. So
why does your procrastination give me anxiety?
You should know what your family and friends want.
Oh my God.
Right, I do.
So you should know how to make a decision faster than that.
But I mean, I'm still going to all the right places and the places that I know that I'll find something that they like. But yeah, if that candle's the last one on the shelf, then sure. I mean, I don't know if Mom necessarily likes that scent, but that's the one I gotta go with.
Don't be this guy. Go to Four Peaks Brewing Company. Get yourself and your friends and your loved ones the gift of beer this holiday season, and don't wait until the last minute because they are limited edition supplies of their December Advent calendar. For $55, you can enjoy specialty beers, tall boys, and more. Of course, we've seen some of the stuff. Barley wine is in there. Make sure to check that out. Purchase at their 8th Street pub in Tempe. If you don't get a chance to go out there, make sure to just grab their beers wherever you get your beers. You must be 21 and over to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. Jesse, I don't even believe this map is real. But let's just...
No, I don't think either of us believe this map is real.
Baseball Reference released a map of the most player page views by state, and none of this makes sense. I'll take that back. All of the Aaron Judge states make sense, right? Aaron Judge was a very hot topic for a lot of people, especially states that don't have a baseball team, right? Following his journey on if he was going to beat Roger Maris's home run record, garnered a lot of interest. So none of those surprised me at all. The ridiculous percentage of Albert Pujols.
I mean, is that surprising though? Is that really that surprising?
I mean, it's his last season.
I personally went to Albert Pujols' Baseball Reference page number of times over those last few months of the season. I think just about everyone in the game did. It is interesting though that it's not every city. It also, I notice, is in Illinois. Albert Pujols was the most searched name. Of course, that's the home of the Chicago Cubs. I'm not sure how Cubs fans would feel about that. But I guess those states kind of blur together a little bit.
He's on their mind.
St. Louis is practically in Illinois, but
again, I am not going to say anything about the amount of Albert Pujols on this list either, even though it is, of course, as you guessed, Arizona's number one looked up player for some reason. but also Los Angeles. Like, that's kind of crazy to me as well. But here's the thing: Los Angeles, California. I forgot that there's a whole other state there.
You forgot that Los Angeles is not
but
a
like,
state.
why is Barry Bonds? Why like?
No,
because Wyoming doesn't really know.
Jacob, why are people still looking up Pete Browning's stats from 1894 on baseballreference.com?
See, the East Coast isn't like, it's already an enigma to me. So like, I didn't even look at that. I just was confused by Wyoming and Barry Bonds.
I mean, I think it makes sense. Like if you live in Wyoming, like. And you don't have any idea that Albert Pujols is making
You're right. The
right?
televised games there are still from 2004. You're correct.
No, that's fine. Does George Brett live in Alaska? Like, explain that one to me.
Yeah,
it would not surprise me if George Brett lived in Alaska. He could break as many bats as he wants there.
That's fine. I can criticize all of these people all day long, but Dylan Moore for Hawaii will never make sense to me.
There's got to be some connection
He's
here.
from Yorba Linda.
Yeah, he doesn't have any clear ties, but I refuse to believe that there are people, hanging on the beach in Hawaii, just like obsessively looking at Dylan Moore's baseball reference.
I gotta see what his current line is right now. Let me see. Yeah. Oh man, I don't get it, but Jesse doesn't even believe that's a real that's real. He doesn't think that.
Can we pull it up one more time? Yeah. The Peter Browning thing, to your point earlier, is truly startling. Peter Browning played between 1882 and 1894, career 341 hitter.
Yeah,
so
killer.
Mad respect to the citizens of Delaware.
For knowing
they found themselves a ball player.
Right.
But
why? Why is everybody there looking him up? Does his family live there? That's what I think about all of these guys. Like Dylan Moore's family definitely lives in Hawaii.
It'd have to be like his children's children, I guess,
he
at this
has
point,
that
right?
big of a family. Maybe it's an entire town. Who knows, Jesse?
Maybe
people can procreate. You've never seen that before. Anyway, let me tell you, back east, I don't know what you guys are doing, but a lot of fun looking up stats from the 1800s, I guess. So,
there you go.
That's all we got for today. But of course, if you haven't had a chance to get yourself some new furniture, for more furniture, make sure to do so. They have an outstanding deal going on, their holiday clearance event. Again, if you're a procrastinator like Jesse and you waited until the last minute, you might win the day over at morefurniture.com because you can save up to 50%. And of course, give somebody the gift of furniture. Why not? Give your spouse a couch. She'll love you for it. I have always wanted to give my wife a car for like Christmas, like those commercials where there's a big old bow on it. Like, it's never going to happen, but I've just always thought it was a neat idea. But
what is this?
Like the car commercials for the holiday season where they give their spouse a car.
Right.
It's adorable. I've always wanted to do that. I'm not going to.
Yeah, where the guy's like, hey, I got you this candle, and then the girl drives up in a big GMC or something.
Right.
Yeah,
no, not happening. Not in my future, because of course, as we established, I have less than 13 years left to live. But of course, we thank you guys.
It's just so dark.
I know, it turned dark.
So dark.
It's Festivus. I'm airing grievances, and that is that I don't know how much more time I have left, but none of us do, of course. Tomorrow's not promised, so make sure to enjoy yourself. And in the meantime, until as long as I'm here, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse.
I do not buy gift cards, Brian. Gift cards are a mostly unacceptable last resort. I will pick
mostly. Yeah.
It's a true, like, if I'm getting you a gift card, it means I really screwed things up and the mall closed and I had no choice. But that's a rare outcome for me. I usually get out of there with something for everyone on my list that I'm reasonably happy with. So it's foolproof, Derek.
Do we want to discuss how you gave Espo a picture of you and me yesterday, a framed picture of you?
Oh, I'm happy to discuss that. Yeah. So we did a Secret Santa here at the office, and I was assigned Espo. And we each filled out like a little form of things that we like and don't like and whatnot. And under things that he doesn't want, Espo put a framed picture of Shane. He did not want a framed picture of Shane. However, he made no mention of not wanting a framed picture of me and Derek. Yeah. And so that is what Espo received. Yes, and he enjoyed it. I believe we are on display in his office.
Right now.
So I think the plan worked. I think it worked to perfection.
It was brilliant.
Derek, did you hear how Jesse almost ruined your guys' present before it was opened?
No, how did that happen?
Espo was drinking regular Coke when Jesse walks up, and Jesse goes, "Oh, no more Coke Zero?" And it was like, it just came out of the blue, and Espo was like, "No, they just didn't have it. And Jesse just goes, oh, and then walks away.
You mean because there was also Coke Zero
in his gift? Yeah.
In his bag.
I
Yeah, he
don't think
almost
that
ruined
gave
the gift.
anything away, though. Anyone who knows Espo well knows that he is a Coke Zero aficionado through and through. I don't think I'd ever seen him drink like the regular Coke before.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty reasonable. I'd have to ask, but I don't think Espo suspected anything.
I got Mac, and I gave her a Fall Guys doll and a gift card to Press and
There you go.
dark chocolate pretzels because I'm a good gift giver, and I don't give people framed pictures of myself like a maniac. But I appreciate
You were in the
joke.
framed picture.
I love
come
that
on.
you did that. I love that you did it. It's great. Not only did I get to be a part of it, but I didn't have to be the one to give it to. So, of course, we thank you guys for joining us. You can follow our show on Twitter at PHNX_DBags. But, of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Again, on behalf of Jacob, Jesse, and myself, we appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you have a framed picture of us on your desk.